You are watching
Trinity Episcopal School Production Network. TESPN.
Welcome to this week's TESPN podcast, and I am extra thrilled this time to be joined by two of our girls soccer players. Why? Because not only do I get to interview them as part of our TESPN content, but I also get to coach these two great senior players. We have Abby Buckner and Shep Ramsey, as well as my buddy and colleague, senior Ryan Lloyd, himself a soccer player and TESPN veteran. So, first of all, you all are both off to a really good start this season, both playing probably the best soccer you have yet in your time here. Abby, for you as a four-year varsity player, how does it feel just to be a senior and to really have stepped up?
It's been really nice because I know, definitely my sophomore year wasn't the best with my injury, and then my confidence was just kind of went downhill after that. And then this year, I've just noticed a major change in that attitude and that confidence, and I'm really liking the way that this season is starting.
And then Shep, for you, you came to soccer a little later in your high school career, sadly for us, but at this time last year, you were still kind of a new player because you didn't start playing until 11th grade. But by the end of last season, I think the coaches and players agreed you probably had become one of the best, most consistent players on the team, and you really just picked up where you left off last year and have been an incredible asset to the team. So now that you have a year experience under your belt, and this is your last go around, spring of senior year, how are you feeling just about your role on the field and also as a senior leader as well?
Yeah. Well, last year, I'm really glad I decided to play soccer. I think this year one of my main goals is just to form a connection with each of the underclassmen and really get to know the team and bond everyone together. And then on the field, I'm not the most vocal person, so I'm gonna try to get better at that. And then also just hype everyone up before games. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so great to hear. I wanted to ask you both, as returning players. Last year's team only had one senior, that was August Gregory. So you carried basically the same team. Talk to me about what that's been like, kind of continuing on the chemistry that you've built off the past couple of years.
Yeah, August was a great role model, so I think, with us having a larger group of seniors this year, we kind of each have something to bring to the table, and I think right now we're just working on, everyone bringing all their contributions together and working as a team to, build off of that.
Yeah, I'll say, it's weird because we have all this chemistry that we built last year, and then now we have all these new players coming in, and it's definitely started off a little rocky, but the seniors have done a really good job of bringing the underclassmen to kind of mix in with the upperclassmen and build that chemistry up pretty fast.
So we're still early in the season, only played 5 games, 4-1 record, but yet even in only those 4 wins, already some pretty memorable ones. Shootout win in the Tucker Invitational, where Abby, you made the game-winning penalty kick. A come from behind win at Veritas, which is a team that we had lost to last year, and Shep you scored a late game-winning goal in the last 5 minutes to get that one. And then a 3-0 win at St. Catherine's, a big rival, and Abby, you scored that final goal that sort of put the nail in the coffin with a brilliant free kick. So just in the early part I've kind of given you, 3 choices there. What would you say has been the highlight of this season so far? Or maybe it's something that was not among the choices that I said.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of good things that have come out of the season so far. I think the most memorable would be the Tucker shootout, just because we knew we wanted that win more than anything, and we all some gambles were taken, switching our keepers, and it was just everyone was on the edge of their seat, so it was just really, really fun, and especially just to get that win right after that was amazing.
Yeah, I would say my most memorable moment so far would be watching Marin score in the Veritas game, because the ball, I saw it come off her foot right as she kicked it, and you could just see it go like top left corner, and then it hit the post and went in. And like just watching Marin after that was awesome.
Well, and must add too, like you passed the ball to her, and you got you had a hand in that goal as well with the assist. So credit there as well, Shep. So you just passed it to her, and then it's just like, all right, go do your thing, Marin.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing shot for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to, Abby, I'll start with you. This year you were playing up top, and as a striker, you had two people up there really kind of contributing. You're on 4 goals for the year, just 4 games in, and you already have an assist. What's that been like, just to kind of really be the center point of the team's attack?
It's been actually pretty nice because I feel like I've been working pretty hard to get to this point. I've been switching around my positions a good amount, especially like in club. I didn't really play a lot of forward, and Coach Hamlin he trusted me and put me up in that spot. We really needed some people that could take their shots, and he told me that he believed in me, and I just went out there and I did it, and that was my goal for the season. So it's been really nice to see my goals kind of be accomplished.
Yeah, and Shepard, now as a college athlete, you recently committed to play field hockey at Swanee. You're phenomenal stamina. And what's it like, as soccer is not your main sport, maybe your touch and finesse maybe isn't at the level of someone who would have played soccer their entire lives. Not that it's bad by any metric, but what other advantages do you think you have that really allow you to play so well in the midfield?
I mean, first of all, I feel like soccer last year definitely upped my game in field hockey this past year, just because like all the running, I guess my mental state just improved, because like field hockey's 20 minutes shorter of a game. So my endurance definitely improved a lot. And then field hockey wise, I mean, I would say in soccer the biggest thing is just being aggressive. Like as Ryan said, I mean, I know my skills aren't as good as a lot of the players on the team, but I think just like being aggressive and working as hard as I can be, which I learned in field hockey, has definitely contributed a lot to my game.
Let me ask one more question. So, as part of the soccer program myself, and you all having been for 4 years and now 2 years, we have a lot of like traditions within the team, like the chain and victory song and buddies and donuts for clean sheets, and you all paper plate awards, and you all maybe even some player traditions maybe that I'm not even aware of. What is like maybe when you think about as your career winds down in the coming weeks and months, and you think back on your high school soccer career, is there one of those kind of cultural things within the Trinity soccer program that will really stand out for you that is special to you?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like a really set tradition, but our away games on the bus, like especially like the long our away games, just the tradition of kind of like getting ready together on the bus, like all the girls are like doing each other's hair, and we're kind of bonding over that. And then after the game, especially after wings, it's a lot more enjoyable. But we go out to dinner together, and we all kind of see what each other likes when it comes to food, and we get to know each other on a different level, kind of outside of soccer, which is really nice and definitely something that'll stick with me through college.
Yeah, I would say the buddy system. I really like that. I mean, I was buddies with Kat last year, and I hadn't really gotten to know her until then, and I think the bus rides on the way to like far games, that definitely helped me get to know her better, and now she's one of my best friends on the team.
I wanted to ask you guys, we had just mentioned the shootout win at Tucker that went to 9 penalties in total. Abby, you scored the last one in that. What's that like for your mental? As you know, during the regular season, you never really have a penalty shootout, as those games can end in ties. But as you get into the postseason and later on, what's that like to have a win in a shootout under your belt, knowing that if that occurrence does happen in the postseason, you can have experience in that area?
I definitely feel like it's kind of a little bit of a relief, like knowing that we have that like capability of being able to do that, especially because it was so early in our season. We didn't really know who had that like potential to do that. So going through that at such an early stage in the season, like definitely
Yeah, and I would add to that. I mean, if our goals as a team are to win a LIS tournament championship or a state tournament championship, or even make the Final Four of states, like statistically speaking, it's probable that we would find ourselves in another shootout. Just if you look at the teams we would have to beat, those very top teams in the state, beating them in 80 minutes would be a huge challenge, but hanging in and getting a tie and getting it to PKs is something that I think is very possible. And so having that under our belt, knowing, like for example, Hadley Bald, 9th grader, not a starter yet. I mean, she's been a contributing player and is a great kid and a good player, but she took our first penalty and she was like, yeah, I got this. She's like, it's just me kicking a ball. I mean, her mindset was so casual about it, and then she nailed it. I mean, nobody was saving that shot. And then because of the nature of how that shootout went, we actually were allowed to have players take a second one after the first 5 if they wanted, and then Hadley took a second one and nailed it again. And so just knowing that that's something that she has in her bag is hugely confidence building. We were fortunate in our last game at St. Catherine's that Marin drew a foul in the box and we got a penalty kick, and we knew like CC had made 2 in that, and so it was an easy decision. I'm sure Abby also would have liked to take it, and I would have been fine with that too, but just felt like CC had made 2 in that shootout, like she was going to be the go-to there, and she made it, and that gave us that 1-0 lead that we never relinquished. So I do think that as the season progresses, the confidence that came from that is going to be huge. And also LG's ability to psych out opponents is a big factor in that as well.
All right, question now more directly for you, Mr. Hamlin. I just wanted to know, during Media Day, we talked about how you this year were attempting to kind of step back. We talked about the extensive coaching staff that you've built up over the past couple of years. You got Carter Tyree working with goalies. You have Brian Phillips, the head boys coach, along with a lot of other really great coaches who really excel in those areas. How has that been, kind of maybe adjusting your role this year?
I mean, for me, it's been great because I really trust them all. Ellis Mumford was a head varsity coach at the high school level across town over at Hermitage High School, as well as head cross-country coach here. So she has that experience of what it's like to be a program head. I mean, she's also a college player and also a female, which I think is important on a girls' team to have those female role models. So, these guys know, like, sometimes I'll really step back and kind of let Ellis run practice. And I like that. Sometimes the players, because she talks so fast, have to translate like what was said, because her mind moves at such a rate that sometimes there's a processing issue for the players. Like, wait, can you explain that one more time? And then Tyree's incredible with the goalies, and his work with Kate is well documented, as well as his work on the boys' side with Joe, with Mitch, and their improvements. So I almost never even have to talk to Kate about soccer stuff. I think at the St. Catherine's game I did yell something at Kate, and Tyree was like, that's just what I was about to say. So then I'm like, okay, I knew I was going to say I said the right thing there. And then Coach Phillips, like, already this morning I texted him, and there's a specific drill I want him to run today. He knows soccer more than anyone, including me. He's done it long enough that he coached Shep's dad, as well as me. And so, total trust in them. And then Brooke Ferguson, who's new to us this year, who works in the ARC, but she just has like a great enthusiasm and energy, and I think it's just like a really great fit with the culture of the program. And Miss Ferguson, I think a lot of the younger players have really gravitated to her as well, because they're new, like a lot of the 9th graders, they're new to the program, but so is she. And there was a moment when we got off the bus at Veritas where like she was just jamming out with some of the players to, like, I think it was Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield, I believe was the song. And I was like, she gets it. Like, this is what the girls need before the game. Like, they need that coach that can kind of take the pressure off. And, that game started and Abby scored a goal in the first 5 to 8 minutes of that game. And I think that Coach Ferguson was part of what had them ready to play that game, because the previous game we had not come out ready. We came out really flat. So I like to be able to take a step back, and then I also think, I talk a lot. I mean, this answer to your question has already been over a couple minutes long. So sometimes I worry about talking too much and then like being tuned out. So I do make a conscious effort to try and talk a little bit less this year, let the assistant coaches take a bigger role, so that hopefully when I do talk, it carries a little more weight. It's not just like, oh God, like there goes Hamlin again. There might be a degree of that, but at least it's not as bad as some years. So we couldn't be in this position without the entire coaching staff for sure.
Yeah, and then Shepard and later Abby, a final question for you guys. Right before we kind of went live on here, we talked about kind of more of the tactical side of what you guys have been doing this year. How has that adjustment been for you guys? I know there's been a big emphasis put on film this year and really watching and learning from mistakes and what you can do better. What's the tactical side been like and learning how to move throughout your position and when to play certain balls and when not to?
I feel like a big help is like the coaches. They're really good about giving us like feedback like on the fly. Like if there's like a mistake or something, they'll speak up, they'll let us know, and the communication not only from the coaches but also from the players. I know I can hear like CC from the back like always supporting us, telling us like if we need to slow down or if we need to like switch the field, and also like that comes from all like other players as well.
Well, one thing I would add to that too is, it's nice to hear Abby say that getting feedback from the coaches in real time is helpful, but also the players, to their credit, I think have done a really good job, especially in the last couple games, of taking that feedback. And that's something Abby and I talked about a while ago, is like, our job is to coach you, so when you receive coaching, like taking that and being like, gotcha, and implementing it is something that does require a bit of maturity, because nobody likes to be told they did something wrong. But generally this year, there have been very few times when one of the coaches gave constructive criticism and got like attitude back. It's been much more open to like, thank you for that feedback, and that creates a culture where we're all pulling in the same direction, not where it's like, oh my God, coach yelled at me, so like they hate me. Kind of, you have to get past that. And I think this group, especially this group of seniors, has done a really nice job with that, and the juniors for that matter too. Like, it's really nice as a coach to feel like you have the trust and license to actually coach and not have to walk on eggshells about at times being critical, because that criticism is where growth happens.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, like film, I mean, I know last year, especially like when I was more of a new player, when you would go through the film and like pause it every time like someone did something good or someone did something bad, and you like went through what they could have done better or what they need to keep doing, that was really helpful for me, and I know a lot of other players.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like our like the day after we have a game, we go through the film like you said, and we kind of not only like is the coaches like telling us like what we could be doing better, but the players are like really good at like giving feedback and like having a conversation about that. Like the other day we were watching film and it was only supposed to be like a couple minutes, and we ended up staying in there for like a good amount of the practice, and that was just because of the amount of communication coming from the coaches and the players, which was good.
One day, Ryan, I want to write a book about the differences between coaching girls and boys, because I've done quite a bit of both. And definitely, I think one of the chapters would be in a team meeting. And I mean, Coach Phillips would agree with this. I think Coach Tyree would agree with this. Like when we have those meetings where we talk about the game and reflect on it, the girls tend to be a lot more thoughtful in their comments than guys tend to be. And I'm not saying I like coaching one better than the other. There are just some differences. But the amount of constructive feedback and thoughtfulness in the commentary that these young ladies have is pretty impressive. You're good at that, but not a lot of guys are just like, give me ball, me go score. Like, it's a little more to it than that,
Yeah, and then Shepard, last question for you. I wanted to talk. You guys are playing a 3-5-2 this year, maybe a not a super common formation, just three at the back. Generally kind of offers a little bit of less of defensive stability, but you guys have really made it work. You're in that midfield five, which really gives you a ton of options, creates a lot of passing triangles. What's that been like, finding a ton of people to link up with?
I mean, I really like the 3-5-2, just because, yeah, as you said, it gives me a lot of options. Marin is an extremely good player, and I know that when she's right on my side, and then sometimes like Logan or whoever is right next to me, like I can trust them with the ball, and it also makes marking easier, I think, because everyone's always communicating on who they're going to be on, and I guess just having more players in the midfield, it helps with that communication, and it helps with more trust on the field.
Yeah, Abby, last question for you, maybe more of a prediction. You're on 5 goals and assists combined this year. Do you have a prediction? A target that you're trying to get to?
I'm just gonna keep shooting. I mean, after I have seen what I am capable of, I know that I can just keep doing what I'm doing, and I know that I have the people, behind me, my team, to help me get to that, and just keep on going.
Also, I want to add, Abby's corner kicks have been fantastic this year. And really, she should have more assists. She's put them exactly where they need to go. Other players need to do their job and put them in the back of the net. But that's so gratifying to see as a coach, because that's something, that's a skill you can work on, like your golf swing or a free throw. It's a repeatable skill that Abby has clearly put the work in, and it's paying off. And so those assist totals could skyrocket if we can just get some players to put their head on the end of some of these great crosses she's putting in.
Yeah, I mean, that's really amazing. Thank you guys so much. Coach Hamlin, thank you for willing to do this. I don't know if you have any final thoughts, but Shepard, Abby, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I just want to say I do have one final thought, which is just about all 8 seniors on this team. These 2 have been great leaders, and both are off to a fantastic start to the year. But we also heard, and anyone who's watched this, if you haven't yet, go back and watch the media day interviews that you interviewed me. I actually think someone else interviewed the players, but of Logan Snyder and Kate Duroko and Cece Molesky, that's a really good content if you like Trinity soccer. But then I also want to shout out the other 3 seniors, Layla Talaby, Jenna Boggs, and Gabby Strickler, and they have all contributed in their own way as well. Layla brings a lot of energy, during games on the bench. She's kind of one of the leaders of that support system. Jenna plays so hard in practice, and I mean, she only knows one way to play, which is 100% at all times. And then Gabby is new to soccer this year, playing goalie, big strides, working with Coach Tyree and working with Kate. She was our practice player yesterday and did a really good job. We had an indoor practice because of the weather, and she made some great saves and great distribution. So these 2 have been awesome, but all 8 seniors, really proud of all of their contributions. And as the coach of this team, I just want to give it my all so they have their best season that they've ever had in sports here in the spring of 2024.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Make sure to catch the girls and Coach Hamlin and the rest of the coaching staff in action up on the upper field here on Trinity's campus. But if you can't make it, we'll be broadcasting most of the home games. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.